Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. Today we're looking at the brand new product and a brand new release, which is the Vanishing card by Nicholas Lawrence. This is an interesting product and something that many of you may be on the fence with, and you may not know if this is for you, not for you. What are the limitations as to the product? I'm here to provide everything to you so you know everything that you need to before making your purchase. Let's roll the intro and get straight into the review. Perfect. So you've decided to stick around to learn more about Vanishing cards. So what is the Vanishing card? It is pretty self-explanatory as per the title. It's a card that vanishes. I'll have a performance up here in the corner of me doing it on my Instagram. So if you want, go check that out on Instagram or just check it out on the corner. But yeah, that's essentially what it looks like. It's just a card that vanishes. That is not the only application. We'll get into that in a moment, but that is the main application that was intended for the product. So where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? So this is available at Penguin Magic. Now it's available at Vanishing Inc. I just saw that a day before I filmed this review. It's available at Vanishing Inc. as well for the cost of $39.99 US. So when you pay the money, what do you get? You get the usual P3 packaging, which is this nice kind of metallic, solid packaging. Inside here, of course, you get your instructional video link with your password and you get your gimmick. So let's talk first about the video. Let's talk about the video first. So the video is around 30 minutes long. It goes over how to use the gimmick, how to take care of the gimmick, how to set it up, how to perform it, different ideas. It has like a small jazz session at the end as well, where it gives you different ideas, different things you could do, different routine ideas. You could take the card and do different applications instead of just a vanishing card. You could do an appearing card. You can have like a card here, your vanishing card, and make the card disappear on the table beneath the cover of the card. You can use it as like a vanishing device, anything you want. There's different applications, but there's one gripe that I had with the video itself is that there's no actually fully concrete performance or routine of the effect. And what I mean by that is, for example, yes, you want to do this as a vanishing card. Okay, that's fine. But how do you introduce the card in a routine? Do you do it in an ambitious card? Do you do it in a like transpo? How do you do it? And I would have loved to see like a fully fledged routine performed for real people, which is not in the studio or anything like that, to see how it plays out. Because if you take the gimmick and you place it on top of your deck or anything like that, the gimmick may move. You'll need to hold the deck differently than you do when you don't have the card there. You have to pick up the card differently, watch out the angles, the orientation. So I would have loved to have a performance of a real scenario where he takes this and not only does a vanish, where he actually takes a routine and includes it in the routine, and you have a performance of that. Because in the trailer, he does tell you, I've performed this to countless people in real life scenarios. Okay, that's nice, but I would have loved to see one of those countless performances in the real life in an actual routine in the video. So that's just one of my criticisms as to the video. I would have loved to see that. Usually I don't nitpick on videos that much, but for this product, I would have loved to see it play out in a routine in the real world and see how he handles the angles, the crowds, and everything, which we're going to get into in a moment. Now let's talk about the gimmick. The gimmick is super well made. It's going to pretty much last your lifetime. It's not made out of cardstock. It's made out of like a thick plastic, which looks like a card from distance and feels kind of like a card, but it's pretty much not going to rip or if, for example, it gets wet, you'll pretty much be good. It won't get wet. It'll pretty much last you a lifetime as long as you don't lose it or like break it in half or try and rip it or cut it with a scissor or anything like that. It will pretty much last you a lifetime. And on top of that gimmick, you also get like an extra part that you could use if you're wearing like a black shirt or black jeans or on a black table. It gets you a little bit of thing you could use for an extra vanish. So that's just an extra thing you get with your purchase. So that's everything that you get for your $39.99. Now, what is the difficulty of the vanishing card? It's not difficult per se, but I wouldn't put this beginner or a starting magician. This is definitely more intermediate to advanced. Let me explain myself. The gimmick itself needs practice to work, okay? So you'll have to practice the movement, the way you hold it, the way it vanishes, because I know Nicholas Lawrence was a bit upset when the effect came out that people were like holding the card here and then they would start vanishing the card and the card would vanish like here, right? So there's clearly a discrepancy because the card is like this big and you're making it vanishing, you make it vanish like on your neck. So clearly it's more of an expanding card than a vanishing card. So you do have to work on like how high a card should be, on your vanish, how you hold it, how you act it out, and how you play with it. So that's a bit of a difficulty, but not too much. It's more intermediate. For me, the main difficulty is going to be to control your angles because the angles are pretty much 180. No one can be behind you really. They're going to see how it works. We're going to get to that into where to perform. There's a small negative there as well. But there are some angle issues you're going to have to take care of. And also the most difficult part is going to be including this in a fully structured routine that you can do table hopping. Yes, for example, you could do a super simple one, which I'm like brainstorming right now. You have a card like a duplicate, you place it in someone's pocket, purse, wallet, underneath the table mat, underneath their chair, whatever. You bring up, you say, hey, I'm a magician, you want to see something cool? There's something magicians can do which is called transposition. Does anyone know what that is? They answer, then you take out a card from your wallet and you say, look, this is my favorite card, the King of Spades. And it actually has a special property. You make it vanish and you say it disappears, but it doesn't disappear far. It actually was attracted to you, sir. Can you just check in your pocket or lift your coaster or lift your plate, and then the card is going to be underneath the plate. You could definitely do it like that. But I would, if you want to do it in an ambitious card or in a more complex routine, you're definitely going to need to practice a lot and find how to utilize the gimmick in those specific scenarios because there's not much of that in the tutorial. So you're going to need to adapt that yourself. So the difficulty comes there. Now, let's talk about practicality. Is this practical? It's practical to carry around, definitely, because you can pretty much place this inside of your wallet or on the back side of your cellophane of the card box, and you'll be ready to go anywhere, anytime, pretty much. So, practicality-wise to carry around, it is practical. However, performance-wise practicality, you do have to keep aware of your angles, and also when you do the vanish, the heat is going to be on the hand that goes over, to make the card vanish. So the heat is going to be in that hand. So then you have to dispel the heat from that hand. So you're going to have to either, do like a hand washing motion. You're going to have to do that. Or you're going to have to ditch it or lap it or anything like that. But the heat will be on the hand, and the heat will be on the hand rightly so, because it can clearly not be on this hand, which is pretty much open, and there's one hand that's closed here. So you're definitely going to have to work around with what you do with the hand. So because of that, practicality wise, depending on the scenario, you can have people, as I said, because the angles are 180, you can have people behind you. And also, depending on scenario, the ways in which you handle this are going to be different. If you're doing this walk around, you're not going to be able to lap. You're not going to be able to have a servant or whatever to be able to ditch the gimmick. So you're going to have to find workarounds for those scenarios in the way to hide and displace the gimmick. If you want to do that simple effect I told you with just the transposition, you do this and you say it's gone. You can easily just place your hand down and say, you, sir. All the attention is going to go to him, and you can easily ditch the gimmick. Okay, so you're gonna have to work on that. But practicality-wise, it is pretty practical, but you have to work around, as I said, the most difficult part is working a clean routine that plays everything in your favor. So let's talk about where to perform. So where do you perform the vanishing card? Pretty much in a close-up scenario. You can also do this in parlor. I definitely see this playing in parlor. So for example, you make the card vanish. People could see that from far. If you're like in a small parlor settings, which is not, of course, a stage, people could definitely see the card vanish and the trick works. You can do it parlor, but you can also do it walk around, table hopping, cocktail, bar, club, anything like that. It's going to play great, okay? But there's one thing to notice about this is, as I mentioned, your angles. Because if you do this at a table over here, so you do the vanishing card there, great reactions. And then you want to perform the vanishing card at the table behind their table, and you do the vanishing card here. If those people hear you, performing the trick, they're going to want to see what happens there. And if they turn around their head, they're going to clearly see how it works from behind. So you're going to have to keep that in mind because of the angle issues of the effect. Okay, so that's one thing where to perform, but nonetheless, if you're performing straight on to a crowd in like a one-on-one or a street performance, anything like that, this will work great. So now that's pretty much all I have to say about Vanishing Card. Let's go into the positives, the negatives, and the verdict. So what are the negatives of the Vanishing Card? Let's start with the negatives. What are the negatives? One of the negatives is angles. So you'll have to keep around of the angles. The second one is the heat process. So you're gonna have to find a routine where you can dispel the heat. A third difficulty is finding a routine where you can use this like without any issues. Okay, that, and what I mean with that is is what I mentioned before with dispelling the heat, with the angles, and also treating the card as a normal card in the performance before you make it vanish or appear or whatever. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And those are pretty much the three main negatives. You can also add there's not a live performance in the video, but those are pretty much the only four big negatives of the Vanishing Card. So what are the positives? The gimmick is very well made. The instructional video is really well explained. So even though there's not a performance, the instructional video is really, really good. The gimmick will last a long time. So as I said, it's well made. There's different applications beyond just a Vanishing Card. As I said, you can do this as an appearance. You can use this to make like a transposition. You can make it like disappear in the table. There's different applications because Nicholas Lawrence goes over like a small jam session towards the end. So there's different applications. It's great for video. And one of the things that I didn't really mention, which I think is important to most, is that it looks as good in video as it does in person. So that's one major thing. Is in Neo, which I reviewed a few months back, the main complaint with that is that it looks great in video, but in person, anyone could see how it works. It was so visible. But this, it works and looks as great on video as in real life. So that is a major, major bonus. So that's pretty much all I have to say. What is my verdict? Do I say to buy the Vanishing Card? I feel that if you like the performance that I made or Nicholas Lawrence made or countless performances on Penguin Magic, and you like the concept and you have an idea of when, where, how to use it, if you want to use it purely for Zoom or Instagram, YouTube, Facebook Shorts, TikTok, whatever, it will work great. If you have an idea of how to use it in the real world as well, in a routine, then it's great because it does what it says on the tin. It does what it says, it's transparent about it, and it pretty much works as intended and is well made. It's not some kind of cheap, crappy product. It's well made. It does what it's intended to do. So if you like it and you like what it sets out to do, then you'll love it. It's a great product. However, if you want this to be like a workhorse you can do fully surrounded at any moment in time, super easy to do without any worry, probably not for you. But if it did interest you and you do like it and you do have an idea of how to use it beforehand, then definitely I say this is worth your money because it does what it's set out to do. So I would say buy it if you have an idea of how to use it, where to use it, and when to use it. So if it ticks all of those boxes, definitely give it a buy. If not, then don't. So yeah, this is not a definite buy for everyone. So keep that in mind. What do I give it on a scale from 1 to 10, as I usually do with my products? I give the Vanishing Card by Nicholas Lawrence a 7.5 on 10. It's good. It does what it's supposed to do. It does have limitations, and I did notch points, quite a few points down for all those limitations, but it does what it's intended to do. It does it well. It's well made. It's going to last you a long time. So yeah, that is my review of the Vanishing Card by Nicholas Lawrence. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you have a great rest of the week. Like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think about the product, and I wish to see you in my next review. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.